Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're at it again with a new video, and this time the topic is how to fill up the Schengen Visa application form. I've received some personal messages with regards to some of them, so I'm gonna go ahead and answer them through this video. I hope this helps, and if you're ready, let's move on to the video. So let's begin. So numbers 1 through 9, these are all your personal information, your surname slash apellido, your surname at birth if you are married, so they're asking for your maiden name, and then next is your first name. Following after that is your date of birth. Make sure that you write it as the day, month, and then the year. Number 5 and 6 is your place and country of birth. Number 7 is your current nationalities, and if you have other nationalities, then make sure to write that down as well. Number 8 is your sex slash gender. And then number 9 is your civil status. So just put a check on the box that applies to you. If you're single, married, have a registered partnership, separated, divorced, widow, widower, or other. Okay? And then next is number 10. You only need to answer this if you're a minor slash student. So this is the parental authority slash legal guardian's information. So it's going to ask for the name. It's also going to ask for the address. You only need to write down the address though if they have a separate address from you. But if they have the same address, then you don't need to write it down. Next, it's going to be their telephone number, their email address, as well as their nationality. Next is number 11. So it's going to ask for your national identity number. So as of right now, especially for the Philippines, we don't have a national identity number yet. I know that Duterte has already approved the making of the Philippine National ID card, but I don't personally know anyone who has received it. So since we haven't received it yet, you can just put in NA, which stands for not applicable. Next, for number 12, it's going to ask what type of travel document you're going to use. Obviously, that's going to be your passport. Make sure that you already do have a passport before you apply, because that's something that you have to send in with the application. Also, make sure that your passport is valid additional 6 months from the day that you leave the Schengen area. If not, your Schengen visa or Schengen application will be declined. For number 13 is going to be your travel document information. So it's going to be your travel document number, when was it issued, and how long it's valid, and then lastly, who was it issued by. So for the Philippines, it's DFA, and then just put in the location where it was issued. Okay, for your number 17 and 18, this is the information of your petitioner slash sponsor. So it's going to ask for their first and last name, their date of birth, as well as their personal identification number or number of the travel document. I think most in the Schengen area has their own personal ID number, so I would advise to write that down instead. And then for number 18, that's where it asks what relationship you have with the petitioner slash sponsor. If you're the husband or wife, click on spouse. If you're the child or daughter, just click on child, or put a tick on child. If you're the grandchild, obviously put a check on the grandchild. If you're like just a distant relative, you can click on dependent ascendant. If you have a registered partnership with the sponsor slash petitioner, you can click on that or tick on that. And if it's none of the above, you can just tick on others and then write down specifically what relationship you have with the sponsor. Next, for number 19, it's going to ask for your home address and email address. So as you can see on the box, it's very small, but you need to be able to make it fit. And if it doesn't, then you can write it down instead. So on my case, I actually have a very long address and a long email address as well. So I had to write it down with a ball pen instead of having it printed because it just wouldn't fit. And then it's going to ask for your personal contact number. And then lastly, number 20, if you have any residence in any other country, just put it in here and click on yes. But if you don't, then automatically just put a check on no. Okay, moving on to number 21 and 22. If you have a job, then of course just put in your current occupation and then the employer's address and telephone number. But if you don't have a job, so you can just put in NA. And then for students, you can put in the name and address of the institution. All right. And then moving on, it's going to be number 23 to 27. These are the information regarding your stay in the country that you're gonna visit. So for number 23, it's going to ask for your purpose of the journey. So there are multiple there, some tourism, business, visiting family or friends, cultural, sports, official visit, medical reasons, study, and airport transit. If the reason that you're visiting is still not on those, just click on or just click on others and then specify what exactly is the reason that you're traveling to the Schengen area or the country that you're going to visit. Next, for number 24, it's going to ask for the additional information on the purpose of your stay. If you are intending to, for example, visit family or friends, just write down who exactly are you visiting. I'm applying so that I can visit my aunt, uncle, so that I can be with my partner. Just write it down and try to make it as detailed as possible, but not too long. So for number 25, it's going to ask what country are you going to stay in the most. So if you're going to, for example, visit Sweden, Finland, and Norway, and then you're going to stay maybe 20 days in Sweden, 10 days in Norway, and 10 days in Finland. So your main destination is going to be in Sweden, right? And then for number 26, it's going to ask which country you're going to first enter. Next is number 27. For this one, it's going to ask how many number of entries you're requesting, if you want only single entry, 2 entries, or multiple entries. For this one, if it's just 1 entry, obviously, once you've entered the Schengen area and then you decide to leave the Schengen area, you can no longer enter again unless you apply for another Schengen Visa. For 2 entries, obviously, you can enter twice, and then for the multiple entries, you can return multiple times, but keep in mind that it also needs to be only 90 days within a 180-day period, because if you exceed 90 days, then you will now have a record, and there's a possibility that your next applications for a Schengen visa will get declined. All right. Next will be your intended date of arrival in the Schengen area, and then intended date of departure in the Schengen area. So you just need to specify that. Next, number 28 and 29. For number 28, if you have had previous Schengen visa applications, it's going to ask if your fingerprints have already been collected. So if this is your first time that you're going to apply for a Schengen visa, you just have to tick on no. But if you applied before, then just put in yes and write in the date that you applied for the Schengen visa. And then for number 29, it's asking for the entry permit for the final country of destination where applicable. So for this one, you don't need to fill this up. You can just write the NA or leave it blank. It's basically just asking, for example, once you leave the Schengen area and you want or you plan to visit Japan, so it's going to ask for your Japan visa. So the date that you're going to enter Japan. Any country that would need or that would require a visa, so that's what you need to type in. But if you're going straight back to your home country, you don't need to write anything down. All right. So for number 30, it's asking for the surname and first name of the person inviting you. But if you're purely traveling by yourself, then you can just put in the hotel name that you're going to be staying in. Below that, it's going to ask for the address, email address, and telephone number of the person inviting you or the hotel that you are going to be staying. For number 31, it's asking for the name and address of inviting company or organization. So obviously, if you already answered number 30, you don't need to answer number 31. For the number 30, the stay is purely for personal reasons. But if you answer the 31, then it's because an organization / company asks you to travel. For this, of course, like it says on the form, you need to write in their name and address, and then put in like the head's first and last name, their address and telephone number, as well as the email address. And then on the side of that, put in the telephone number of the company / organization itself. Lastly, on number 32, it's asking as to how your expenses are going to be covered during your stay in the Schengen area. On the one on the left, if it's going to be purely by yourself, then you just click on the box and then choose as to how you're going to support yourself. If it's cash, traveler's checks, credit card, prepaid accommodation, prepaid transport, or other. But if you're going to have a sponsored trip, then you go ahead and put a check on by a sponsor, specified on the ones indicated in number 30 or 31, and then put a check on the box as to if it's going to be like cash, accommodation provided, all expenses covered during the stay, prepaid transport, and others. So you can check on all of those that applies to your case during your stay in the Schengen area. And that's it. On the last page, it's just going to ask you for the place and date that you answered the Schengen visa application form, as well as your signature. So once you fill those up, then you can go ahead and submit your Schengen visa application form together with your other requirements, and you're gonna be good to go. I hope this video again was informative to you. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.